Good morning, everyone. We are going to start in a few seconds. Just waiting for last attendees to join the call. I remind you that, of course, we're going to record this video, so you will also be able to receive all this information both via email and on our website dedicated to travel professionals. And okay, I think we can start. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. For those who are in the United States or overseas, or afternoon for the European attendees. My name is Stefano, and we are here for our third presentation and our third webinar dedicated to wine destinations. If you remember, we discussed at the very beginning of our project of the webinars with Tuscany. So we introduced you the word of Chianti Classico and the word of Montalcino, and today we switch and we move a little bit northern in Italy, and we're going to talk about Le Langhe region. Before we start the presentation and the introduction to the Langhe region, I remind you, of course, that I am the travel manager and responsible of Winedering.com, which is an online wine travel marketplace created in 2016, focused exclusively on wine travel experiences all over the world. As of today, Winedering is working with more than 3,200 wine experiences in Europe, especially. We are based in Italy, and our focus is Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, Germany. And we are, of course, growing a lot in terms of wine experiences. And last uh, summer and the beginning of this year, actually, we started to develop the B2B platform, which is, as you know, dedicated to you, to travel professionals and travel experts, in order to give you the opportunity to have access to our vast and large catalog of wine experiences, helping you saving time, especially in this time of the year. For example, we are receiving a lot of requests and reservations right now for last minutes or last seconds or urgency needs for wine experiences. Of course, getting commission, so getting rewarded from an economic point of view through our B2B commission-based system, and at the same time get the opportunity to let your customers discover some wineries or some wine destinations that would never be able to find without your assistance and with our collaboration. And the reason why I'm telling you that is also because today we are going to talk a little bit about, especially a couple of wineries that are literally unknown and are just outstanding, and we visited them, and it's definitely worth it to get the opportunity to know them, for you to offer a different experience to your customer that may go up, off the beaten tracks. We created this webinars project, as you remember, and at the end of the presentation I will also give you a little bit of introduction of the next programs that we are starting to develop, because we have been developing a great project of content communication for you. So I will give you more details at the end. And as you know, we already recorded Chianti Classico, Montalcino, and today it's Langhe, it's Piedmont. All this information related to our wine destinations are available on our specific blog dedicated to you, and I will share you the link at the end. For each presentation, you will have all the links to our website, and most important, the video, the recorded video that is focusing all the time on each different destinations. So as we know, the goal of all these presentations and all this introduction of the one destination is to give you some hints, some tips about the locations, and some geographical and logistics suggestions that may be useful for you to you know uh, get a better solution for your customers visiting Italy. And as you know, today we are talking about Le Langhe region. For those of you who had never heard of Le Langhe region, or of the um, ever heard of the this outstanding wine destination, Langhe region is a specific little stretch of land situated in the southern part of Piedmont. Piedmont is one of the most important regions in northern Italy, and it's very close to the Lombardy region with Milan, but at the same time, the borders in the south are the ones that connect the Piedmont region to Liguria, so to Genoa, to Le Cinque Terre. Uh, Geographically speaking, Piedmont is one of the largest regions in the country. It's famous for the Alps, for the mountains. It's famous for the connection with France, and of course, it's famous as a great wine destination. Within the region, the Piedmont region, there are so many different varieties, locations, wine areas that it's so complicated to just talk about one wine to gather all the information about this land. So that's why today we're focusing only on just one of those territory, which is probably one of the most important one in Italy, and one of the most important and famous one that is becoming more and more known all over the world, especially over the last few years. And it's Le Langhe territory. Le Langhe comes from an Italian word, lingua, tongue. So it's this tongue land that is actually perfectly indicated by one geographic element that we try to report here in the presentation, which is the Tanaro River, which is a small river that passes through this small territory, which is composed actually by two main provinces, which are Cuneo and Asti. If you remember when we talked about Chianti Classico in Tuscany, we mentioned that Chianti Classico is in between Florence and Siena, so two provinces. And the same thing we could say on a different dimension, a little bit smaller probably, is the Langhe territory. So this beautiful river in the middle, and the two provinces of Cuneo and Asti, and most important, the small villages that are known all over the world for their outstanding products like Alba, like Barolo and Barbaresco, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Geographically speaking, as you can see here on the map, you can see that Piedmont is in the north western side of the country, and there are different ways to reach this destination, which is actually not that tough to get into. From an airport and flight connection point of view, there are three main airports that we would recommend. The closest one is probably the less famous for international connection, which is Turin, but then you have the other two ones that are quite famous, that are the Genoa one and the Milan airports, of course. Just consider that from Milan airports, or from the city of Milan, it's in between 90 and 120 miles. So it's about a little bit less than a couple of hours, I would say, drive from the city of Milan towards the Langhe region. On a beautiful highway, so very easy to reach, and a little bit trafficated, especially in summertime, for those who are going from north to the beach and to the seaside in Liguria. The same thing is Genoa International Airport, which has been used more and more over the last few years, especially by international companies, because it's well connected with the main flight connection to European hubs that are perfectly connected, for example, to the United States. So it's a very useful and comfortable airport to use by, and it's definitely not far from Le Langhe wine destination. So consider those two airports, for example, as a solution. And in some cases, we have been dealing with that with some international buyers, has the perfect airports to arrive for a pre or post tour of your Italian customers' delightful Italian journey. So, for example, you may have customers landing in Milan or in Genoa just 2 or 3 days earlier than the planning of the tour that is organized by you, and you can definitely suggest them to spend a couple of nights in Le Langhe region, uh, with again perfectly great connection from that sense. Of course, as I mentioned you, the distances in between Le Langhe region are not that big, less than 30 miles almost to reach the main destinations from Alba to Barolo to Barbaresco. Very well connected in terms of little highways or subways, as you would imagine, and the the ideal um, solution in this case would be to move around the areas either by car, and we'll see that later, or also by bike and e-bike. I just went to a Barolo winery a few days ago for an overnight stay to double check a winery, and we perfectly were in the middle of Barbaresco and Barolo, and there were hundreds of cyclists that were going and bikers that were going up and down the hills of these beautiful stretches of land, visiting wineries, connected very easily one to the other. So if you also work with active customers, this is definitely a very well organized wine destination. And with a little bit of difference with respect, especially to Montalcino and Chianti Classico in Tuscany, we have to say that here there are more connections in terms of public transportations. It's still not that easy to move around one winery to another with a bus or with a connection, but it's a little bit easier to reach this destination of Le Langhe, especially Alba, from Milan, but for example by train, or from Genoa, so or from Turin. So if you have customers, especially FIT individual customers that are landing in Milan, the train connection from Milano Centrale to Alba is a very short drive, a very short connection. And then in Alba, of course, this is a very well organized destination, so you will definitely have a lot of cabs and connections to reach the wine resorts or the accommodations where you're going to stay. Talking about wine resorts, you know that we here at Wandering are not focused on trying to give you more information about where to stay, or because it's more up to your customers' desires. But this is definitely a high level wine resort destinations. Many beautiful wine resorts have been developed over the last few years. Of course, this is a UNESCO heritage site location, so it's common sense that it's that technically a little bit more expensive, but absolutely worth a stay for at least a couple of days, as I was mentioning to you, because of this beautiful view that you may have of the different locations. Now, best time to go to Lelange. Langhe is a 1 year wine destination actually, because you can perfectly go there from January till December. Of course, in low season like December, January, and February, it will be a little bit foggier, a little bit less expensive, a little bit cheaper to visit. Uh, and the very high season is a little bit different than the ones that we are used to have in Italy. Because, for example, in Italy, very high season in terms of classic tourism destinations starts now, June, July, August, and September, while Le Langhe is going to high season, so more expensive rates from the end of September, October till December. Why? Because Le Langhe has been more and more connected not only into a wine destination but into a food and wine destination, and especially in Alba there is one of the most important food event, at least in Europe, which is the Tartufo d'Alba fair, la Fiera del Tartufo d'Alba, the truffle fair, which brings customers from all over the world, the most important chefs, the high-end luxury restaurants coming, opening their doors, beautiful wineries opening their doors for exclusive tastings. So the quality of the experience is a little bit less than less rural, less informal that you may expect in other Italian wine destinations, but the quality of the experiences, the quality of the products, the combination of food and wine for those customers that you may have that are food and wine lovers is definitely unique. And this is the moment of the year in which you have to start booking the experiences. For example, we at Wandering, we are starting to receive many requests and bookings online through our platform for October and November, because wineries in this destination literally go sold out in a second. So make sure that if you want to go to the Langhe region for your food and wine lovers, you want to book, of course, the resorts and the accommodation, but also the wine experiences on time. As you know, we don't want to focus too much into the techniques or the specific details of the wine of the product, because most of the time, the real secret sauce of a wine travel activity is the experience itself, is the meeting with the owner, and we talk a little bit about that in a moment. But of course, as we did in Chianti Classico and Montalcino, we cannot uh, avoid talking about the real gem of this territory, which is the Nebbiolo. The Nebbiolo is the grape from which Barolo and Barbaresco are generated. While I was trying to create this presentation, I was lucky enough, and this is, I have to say, one of the best thing about doing these webinars is that I study a lot, especially these products and destinations, and I wanted to deeply focus on the Nebbiolo grape, because of course, if you have a non-expert customer, if you're not an expert, you may find no big difference in between Barbaresco and Barolo, which come from the same grape, Nebbiolo, in a very close territories, because Barbaresco and Nebbiolo are less than 10 miles distance. There's 20 miles, sorry, distance between each other. Same kind of hilly altitude, but completely different products. And so, completely different style, completely different approach, completely different structure, and I mean, not quality, because both of them are amazing, but different style. But both of them come from Nebbiolo. Nebbiolo is this outstanding grape that gives these amazing results in this territory. It doesn't grow only in Piedmont. For example, there is a region in Lombardy, which is the Valtellina, where the Nebbiolo is still grows. But Barolo and Barbaresco can, of course, only be made in this territory. As for uh, the differences between Barolo and Barbaresco. Barolo, as I tried to take some notes during the studies that I was doing, uh, Barolo is historically defined as the wine of the Savoy court. The Savoy court, it was the king, Carlo Alberto of Savoy, that decided I mean, that fell in love with the Barolo wine, and so it was the one that started to connect the idea of a Barolo bottle to a high quality product, a noble, an elegant product. The Barbaresco, on the other side, is a little bit, it's called the younger brother, which does not mean that it's less quality or higher quality. It's just a different product. Also because in terms of development of the vineyards within those areas of Barbaresco, Neve, and are uh, a little bit less crowded in terms of vineyard. There is a different soil. There is a different way of in terms of wind and climate elements, and this makes the difference between the Barbaresco, which is a little bit, I mean, I wouldn't say fruiter, but uh, more delicate on the one side, and the Barolo, the strong, famous Barolo wine. The Barbaresco became very famous thanks to the Gaia winery, one of the most important historic ones in Italy, who decided to give quality to Nebbiolo through this Barbaresco wine, and it was into 1960s and 70s. In terms of technical differences, you will have into the presentation, into the blog, some technical details that I try to put just for giving you some examples. Barolo can be produced in 11 villages, while Barbaresco can be produced in the whole territory of Barbaresco, Treviso, and Neve, which are little three villages on the other side of the Tanaro River. Barolo has to have a minimum age in woods of 18 months. By the Barbaresco, it's 9 months. So the difference of the of the style of the product is, of course, quite easy to understand. But always remember that it's never a matter of quality of the wine in this territory, which are so close by one to another. It's a matter of taste. If you prefer to have a more intense red wine, Valor is the solution. If you want to have a brilliant wine, a ruby and garnet color red wine, if you want to have a little bit more fruity wine, that's the Barbaresco. So different wines according to what your needs, and most important, according to what you are going to taste together with the glasses of wine. Now, if you remember, also again getting some connections with Tuscany. We introduced you in Tuscany a lot of experiences that were related to food and wine pairings within the winery. Here in Piedmont, is in Langhe, is a little bit different because many wineries are very focused on the wine, and on the other side there are so many good quality restaurants. As an Italian, I travel a lot to visit wine countries, regions, wine destinations, but I can tell you 100% that when you go to a Barolo and Barbaresco wine destination, wine resort or structure, and you want to go to a restaurant, you will find a great attention to the cuisine. From the mise en place to the quality of the product, from the style of the pairings to the to the food that you're gonna eat, the food heritage is so strong in this area that it's perfectly connected to the wines that you are going to taste. And I made a little bit of list of the products of the products that I like to eat when I go there, but it's just a 10% of the whole products that you may try when you go to restaurants in this Langhe destination. Truffle tagliarini is a homemade pasta with truffle, of course. Agnolotti del Plin are a little bit small meat filled parcel, perfect with ragu, of course. And then we can go to the meat like the Barolo brasato di Barolo, so slow cooked beef, of course, with Barolo wine, or the so-called vitel tonne, which is the tuna veal, I would say. Uh, and then I wanted to put you two details of the hazelnuts because the Langhe region, Piedmont region, is also the land of hazelnuts, and of course the white truffle, which is definitely one of those products that you may want to find when you go into especially during the truffle time of the year from October till December. All the restaurants will propose you um, dishes that have the white truffle. Then you have the raw meat, you have the Piedmontese cheese, and you have beautiful dessert like the bonnet, which is a very sweet chocolate dessert. When you go to restaurants, you will find these kind of products, at least I would say almost everywhere within the Lange destination. Now, getting into the most important part of the presentation of wine and wine experiences. As I mentioned you have to change a little bit your idea of winery when it comes to Piedmont because it's not necessarily informal, rural, agricultural wineries. They're very different style and approach, very focused on wine, less on food probably. But I try to put at least one or two experiences that have food pairing that we sell a lot on the platform, and and to give you an overview of the experiences. Remember that the selection of the experiences that I share with you is based on the results of our reservations, of course. So the reviews of our customers, the feedbacks that you have, the visits that we made, and the relationship that we had with these wineries. There is no way a winery is just like paying to get visibility on our platform. It's all a democratic, I would say, meritocratic, I would say, um, approach to guarantee the best experiences. And I would start from the top number one in terms of reviews and in terms of reservations, most important in Piedmont, which is Agricola Marrone. Agricola Marrone is a well structured winery in La Morra, so the heart of the Langhe region, is a beautiful winery, a very well organized winery where you can have an outstanding lunch experience with a view. Uh, it's complicated to have a private experience in this case because it's a well-known winery, especially among locals. So it's tough to get, like, let's say a two or four people exclusive lunch experience. But the quality of the lunch and the wine tastings of their products is definitely worth it, especially because you can definitely put into your notes that you want to have a table close by to this beautiful view of the Langhe region. They're always open. They have an outstanding conversion rate, so they always guarantee their availability for us. They have good balance in terms of different offers because I put you the full lunch wine tasting, but they also have the higher top level or the light lunch solution. So definitely nice winery to include into your activities. A little bit less, a little bit smaller, more familiar winery is called Caneva, which is in Dogliani, so around like 20 minutes drive from Barolo and Alba. This is a more informal context in a beautiful small tasting rooms in which you will have the opportunity to taste different products, including of course Nebbiolo. All of these wineries of course include the tastings of the products. um, it's less focused on food pairing in this case, and that's why most of the time, for example, and we will see that in the itinerary, these wineries are perfectly to be visited at around 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. just before lunch, or at 3 p.m. after lunch. And honestly, this winery has a very good balance in terms of quality and price of the experience. Uh, Now, this is uh, I should be as uh, transparent as possible. I want to be as transparent as possible, and I have to tell you that Cagliero was the second or the third, I don't remember, winery that I personally visited when we went to for the first time to open Winedering and to present Winedering to some wine destinations. This was a little house, just a very few minutes walking distance from Barolo, far from the main locations and from the main wineries. And when I knocked the door, there was this guy, Stefano, that opened me the door of his house. So it's not the most beautiful um, barrique room or tasting rooms. You're actually tasting room is his house. So probably there's also his mom with him or his family. Um, it doesn't give a limit to the ones that you want to taste. I put seven minimum, but you can go also up to eight or nine. The experience is definitely cheap, and the only problem from an organizational point of view is that it may last from a minimum of 2 hours up to 4 or 5 hours if you get questions and if you want to take time. But this is something that customers always love. So for example, that's why I would always put this experience not at the beginning of a day but at the end after lunch in Barolo, just to relax at the very end. Great products, great family, and definitely worth it. Another winery that I loved when I went visited it, and customers do love that too, of course, is Fratelli Borgogno, which has a particular element in this case, which is a tasting with a view of the Cannubi vineyard. Cannubi vineyard is a little bit a more exclusive vineyard into the Barolo, that is considered on a higher level of quality. So from a technical point of view, I don't want to get into too many into the details, but the locations of Cannubi vineyards is considered to be the top level in terms of the production of Barolo. So definitely worth a visit from that point of view. Last but not least, in terms of experiences, this is a little more newer winery that enter into the platform, and they're open from April till November, so almost all year round. It's in La Morra again, so as you can see, the distances are not that big, and you have a wine tasting tour where again the cost is not that high, and the location is a little bit different than the other ones because it's a little bit more modern style and approach. I could spend hours building hundreds of different itineraries. But basically, the idea was to try to focus on suggesting you two main type of itineraries that you may build on a day tour for your customers when it comes to Barolo and Barbaresco and to Le Langhe destination. The first one is what I call the Nebbiolo Discovery. This is perfectly organized for non-expert, first-time visitors, people who want to have a day off from Milan or from Genoa, or if you're staying in Le Langhe, and it's the perfect entrance to the world of Nebbiolo, and so Barolo and Barbaresco. In this case, you include one winery that I didn't put on the top five experiences, just to give a balance to the producers, and This is perfectly located, Belcolle, 5 crew wines at the beginning, 1 hour and 15 minutes tasting, a little bit not that focus on the winery visit, but a great focus on the wines, which is just perfect to give you the first sample and glimpse of the destination. Then Agricola Marrone, remember the first winery that we put into the experiences. That is perfect for light lunch or full lunch, and it's a 2 hours and a half experience. So you would finish by 3 p.m. and then you can either go back to your wine resort in the Langhe destination or towards Milan or Turin. Then of course, there is a more uh, technical wine day tour for wine lovers, for in this case for the Barolo lovers, Barbaresco and Barolo lovers, of course, which is more focused on the wine. So you would start with the Canubi vineyard experience in the Fratelli Borgogna around 10 a.m., then Agricola Marrone again for lunch, but then the Cagliero. So remember Stefano Cagliero, the small winery that I mentioned you close by to Barolo. So at the end of the day, you would have tasted at least 8 to 10 wines of different products from the Nebbiolo, Barbaresco, towards the Barolo and the old Reservas and different vintages. So this is, if you have customers or if you are um, Barolo lovers, this is a great solution on a 10 hours tour if you're departing from Milan, or 8 hours tour if you're departing from Turin or from the Langhe region. Um, all these experiences, especially the wine tasting experiences, but also the itineraries, you can build them up. We had a buyer yesterday making reservations on a day tour by himself with the two wineries connected perfectly into the Langhe destination. And you can do that easily by registering on our platform as a subscribed as a wine tour operator. So I'm not going through that into more details anymore because you have already known about that. But you know that Winedering allows you to become a subscribed and an affiliate to get commission and check out experiences according to different patterns. So for example, in this case, I try to tag the Langhe wine experiences, and as you can see, I just try to put some filters, and you can, for example, decide according to the destinations where your clients are staying, or according to the price that they want to pay, or according to the number of packs that you have, or the dates that you need. All the information are available on our supporting page for buyers, and most important, I will show you in a second. You will have the opportunity to check the Langhe destination content here into our website, which is here. And I remind you, winedering.com is wine tourism at winedering.com. Um, we started to focus on Chianti Classico, Montalcino, and the Langhe destination. Into the Langhe, you will have all the information that I explained to you about the destination, how to reach the Langhe, the wine and food look with the Barbaresco and Barolo focus, the differences between Barolo and Barbaresco, the products that you have in this amazing region, the top 5 experiences, and more and more. And then the end of the presentation tonight, you will also see the video linked here for your information and for your details. Now, before ending, and we stayed into the 30 minutes as promised. So as usual, I'm glad if we can guarantee the time since we are all busy. Um, we did the 3 webinars live, and as of July, August, and on, we are going to tape videos like this, 30 minutes, focus on each of the Italian destinations and more, and we're going to send them to you via email, so you will be able to not necessarily access them, the presentation live, but you will receive from our team, from Lara, our sales manager, all the links and information that we are going to develop in the next few weeks. We're going to talk about every wine destination in Italy. We're going to give you all the suggestions and tools that you may want to need, and there will be taped records. Thank you, Margie. If you have any question, any doubts, more than happy to reply. You have our email address, of course. You can also find it here, as you may remember. Sorry. You can check out at support@winedering.com. And if you're going to have any customers making reservations for the Langhe, more than happy to assist you. Thank you so much. I'm going to join tonight a beautiful, as we always do, like time, a beautiful bottle of Barolo. This is the winery that we visited last week. Tenuta Barak is a brand new winery that will be online very shortly on our website. Beautiful location. So uh, have a good season, have a good day and a good end of the week, and cheers. Grazie.